Good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on where you may be calling in from. And thank you so much for joining me today for introducing Elevate. For those of you that may not know me, my name is Drew Norris, and I have the distinct pleasure to be on the line with you today to talk to you about the new Elevate program. You may have seen the announcements that have gone out in the Fathom That newsletter. You may have seen them posted on social media, but I'm here today to give you a little bit more information about what the program entails and how it can really help you grow your business. Elevate was designed to take your business to the next level by making your job easier. And I'll borrow from what Marco has said on previous calls about this particular program is that real estate is one of the few billion-dollar industries that asks its salespeople to do a great deal of work not related to sales. You know as well as I do, there is so much that goes into being a real estate agent that can intimidate some agents, put some agents off, or even still make some agents consider wanting to leave the industry altogether just because of the sheer volume of work away from the sales side that can be a little overwhelming. So overall, the goal of this program is to take the things agents don't want to do, don't know how to do, or may seem too difficult and allow them to focus on their job, ultimately serving your clients. The goal of the program is to ideally double your business over the course of 2 years. Now, it's important for me to state, and you'll see it on the slide there, that the Elevate program is a product of IntelliAgent, which is a Fathom Holdings company. This webinar and all the information within it is for general information purposes. At Fathom Realty, a Fathom Holdings company, does not provide, manage, or monitor the Elevate program. But my job today is to go over what the program entails and hopefully answer some of the questions that you may have. If you are curious, these are being recorded and you'll be able to go back and review them at a later date, along with several of the resources that you'll hear me reference today. But let's start at the beginning. Let's actually start before the inception of the Elevate program. And let's talk a little bit about as Fathom compares to the industry. I've got some numbers listed up here from some traditional brokerages, more of a traditional split model. Now, Fathom prides itself on having among the lowest costs for agents across the industry, but a great number of agents, maybe even some of you, and in fact, probably a fair portion of you on the call today, you came to us from a more traditional split brokerage. What I've got on the screen here is some industry averages from what traditional split brokerage agents are paying, with little to no added benefit, beyond just paying these fees. Now, it's worth mentioning these are kind of industry averages. Some brokerages, maybe ones you've worked with, are a little bit higher, some are a little bit lower, but we're trying to take a big picture, zoomed out view here. For traditional split brokerage, on average, there's a $100 monthly fee that's paid every single month. You just pay it out directly. Additionally, there's a 30% commission on average as a pre-cap fee or split. Now, some brokerages are a little bit higher, some are a little bit lower. You may say, oh, where I worked before was 25. I know as an example, my dad used to work for a brokerage in Ohio where I grew up. That was a 50-50 split. So 50% of commission was gone off rip. At the very beginning, that money was gone. I won't name the brokerage, but it's one of the ones that you would know. And furthermore, beyond that 30% commission split, there's no annual cap on commissions for a lot of these brokerages, meaning you'll continually pay that 30% on your commissions back into the brokerage. And there's little to no incentive towards the referral program. Some have a little bit here, some have a little bit there, but by and large, not an industry standard referral program. So what does Elevate seek to do with those numbers? Well, Elevate is seeking to close that gap between a low fee and a traditional split while providing more tools, resources, and assistance so that if and when you are coming over from another brokerage, Fathom could say to you, listen, if you're comfortable paying that amount of money, here's everything that we can do to make your job that much easier. So then that begs the question, well, how is Elevate going to make my job easier? Well, that's split into 5 pillars, and I'm going to run through each one of these pillars individually and go into more detail about what they entail. But you'll see them listed on that shared screen. The first of the 5 pillars is concierge service. That is dedicated support to the Elevate program for assistance, all for Elevate to make sure that you are getting the support that you need. The second pillar listed is marketing. Now, you know, like I do, that marketing is a big part of what you do. And in the information age and the digital age that we live in, it can be a lot of work. So the Elevate program is going to help you with branding, social media, your online presence, physical materials, and more. There's a lot that goes into that marketing piece. I'm going to break that down piece by piece for you today. The third of the 5 pillars is workflow, is making the actual flow of your work that much easier. Now, there's a lot that goes into that, but a couple of the core pieces is transaction coordinating. We'll have a transaction coordinator assigned to you, more on that a little bit later. A dedicated ISA team for following up on your leads and consistent follow-up with them so that you can focus on your business and let the back end stuff be handled by the Elevate program. Fourth pillar of the Elevate program is productivity. That's mainly going to focus on coaching and goal setting. You'll work with experienced coaches. And these aren't just motivational speakers. These are people who have been where you are, agents who have been in your shoes, who have been successful. Even some top 50 agents in the country running coaching to make your job easier and get you in the right mind space in order to run a successful business. More on that later. And the fifth and final pillar of the Elevate program is recruiting. Now, this deals with growing your network and increasing your potential for revenue share. As you may know, Fathom rolled out revenue share early last year. I want to say, in the summer-ish last year, coming up on a year. And we want to make it easier for agents to be able to recruit other agents into their network and increase that revenue share potential. So all of that and more is comprised in the Elevate program. But I'm sure you're saying, Drew, I need a little bit more info before I can make a decision. No problem at all. I want to go through each and every one of these pillars and kind of break down what comes with them. So as Oscar Hammerstein said, the best place to begin is at the beginning. I'm paraphrasing, but you get what I'm going for. So let's start with the concierge service. So the first pillar, concierge service, and the big piece of this is a dedicated customer service team exclusive to Elevate agents. They'll handle all aspects of your experience in Elevate, and they'll serve as your direct point of contact with regular touch points. We don't want anybody to feel like they are being left behind, and so Elevate is going to seek to avoid that by having regular touch points with you to make sure that your goals are being met. The concierge team will also serve as coordinators for the various aspects of the program, whether that be from social media to marketing to workflow help to partner organizations. The concierge team will serve as kind of the sort of the bridge between all of the different aspects of the Elevate program. And ultimately, that concierge level support is designed to keep you updated, support your journey through the Elevate program, and help ensure that your experience runs smoothly. That is a dedicated team for the Elevate agents, and they are just fantastic. You'll love working with them, I promise. But with that said, let's shift gears from the concierge service and let's talk a little bit about the marketing piece. Now, this is a lot of aspects that go into marketing. And you're going to hear me talk about a lot of different things in marketing here. But overall, let's start at the very beginning and let's talk about branding. Having a seamless brand is extremely important. And to be honest with you, it's often overlooked when agents talk about marketing themselves. So the first thing that the Elevate team is going to do is help you personalize your branding, giving you a unique, professional look that showcases your expertise. Now, that can vary based on your needs. Now, that could be for some of you work on a logo. That could be color selection for your branding, your social media presence, and I'll touch base on social media a little bit more. Some of you may have a logo, but you need some help with your social media or vice versa. They'll start by looking at your brand and identifying what is going to help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve. But once the Elevate team has had those discussions with you about your branding, they'll shift gears and they'll start talking about your website. Having a dedicated online presence is extremely important in the modern era. So they're going to start by customizing and personalizing your IntelliAgent website to suit your business, your brand, and your needs. All the while, they're going to utilize various tools and resources to keep that website engaging and ultimately aim to convert more leads. I'll talk more about leads here in just a minute here. Now, well, actually, let me take a minute and I'll speak about it now. When we talk about lead capture, it's important that we mention consent, and that's a hot button issue in the world of lead generation and lead capture. The Elevate team will work to capture consent extremely early in the process. Now, consent for communication is based on SEC regulation, FCC regulation, do not call lists, and other considerations such as the TCPA, that's the Consumer Protection Act, and that relates largely speaking to texting. I would like to make a brief aside and say if you're unfamiliar with those items that I just mentioned, you're encouraged to look it up to help minimize potential liability for yourself. But let's shift gears away from the website here, and let's talk a little bit about your social media. Now, too often we'll see agents promoting themselves on just their personal accounts, which is perfectly fine. We love the personal touch there. But what that leads to is mixing their real estate business and engagement driving with pictures of the dinner that they just had last night, or their day on the lake, or a lovely picture of their dog. And I'm sure you had a great time on the lake. I'm sure your dinner was delicious, and I'm sure your dog is extremely cute. We love having that personal touch, but it's important to have your online presence for your clients match your business. So the first thing that'll happen here with social media is that branding piece. Primarily, we'll be focusing on Meta, which is, for those of you that maybe don't know the inside terms, that's Facebook and Instagram. Meta is their parent company. The Elevate team will assist in designing business pages that align with your brand. We want everything to be seamless and integrated together. And like it says, optimized for engagement. We want to ensure your profiles look polished, credible, and are attracting potential clients in based on your external presence on social media. Now, it can all look good, but you don't want all frosting, no cake. So that gets into what content will be provided for your social media. And there's a couple of things I'm going to talk about over the next slides that go into the content there. But at the bottom of the slide, I want to reference automated social media posting. And that's included as part of the Elevate program. And that's across various social media platforms, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, X, or Twitter. That always reminds me of when Prince changed his name to a symbol, nonetheless, and LinkedIn. You'll have up to 5 automated posts a week, and that'll include a slew of different types of content, whether that be short videos, branded images, or relevant Houseopedia articles. Now, speaking of Houseopedia, that dovetails nicely into the next slide I want to talk about, which is Houseopedia. Now, Houseopedia is available as a Fathom resource, but we want to help you to take it to the next level, and Elevate seeks to do just that. There are over 1,200 relevant articles spanning different topics across the spectrum of real estate. Now, as an Elevate member, you'll have a branded Houseopedia website that is dedicated entirely to you. That is your Houseopedia page with relevant articles to you and your business. Now, the articles that are listed there, those can be shared independently, or those can be set up to automatically go out at times that you decide. You'll have decision making in that automation for content like this. Additionally, for Houseopedia, they will provide buyer and seller handbooks that come included, all branded directly to you. Those are great to bring to your listing presentations or your buyer consultations to educate your potential clients and position yourself as your market expert. You're going to hear me use that phrase a lot here, your market expert. Keep that in mind as I keep moving through the next couple of slides here. It's also worth mentioning for these buyer and seller handbooks, this isn't something you just get one copy, print it, and go on your merry way. You can share these handbooks independently, either via email, via PDF, or you could use them on things like lead pages in IntelliAgent in order to hopefully convert more leads as well. And all of this, the Houseopedia pages, as well as those handbooks we discussed, are branded to you. These aren't just the generics. These will be dedicated to you and the business that you do. You heard me mention automation. Well, I'd like to take a few moments and talk about automated market reports. And this is where LiveBy joins the party as well. We are bringing together the best of the best to help the Elevate members. These automated market reports leverage LiveBy data into customizable automated social media posts. Now, whether you're zoomed in hyper locally onto a really specific area, or you're zoomed out over an entire city that you love, these reports provide prices, trends, and relevant data on the real estate market in the communities that you serve. These are customizable. They come pre-formatted to fit your social media of choice. So if it needs to go out on Instagram or Facebook or what have you, these are pre-formatted to look great wherever you're sharing them. But you can also decide what is listed on these particular automated market reports. You'll see on the slide listed that this particular example picks sold listings, median sale price, price per square foot, and sold over asking. But there's a great deal of different data points that you can track and decide what range of time you are tracking this data from. Now, those integrate with your social media to be automated. So those can go out in regular intervals to keep your communities in the know. If you want that daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it may be, it's customizable to you and your needs. Now, additionally, the added benefit here, and it's maybe my favorite part of this marketing piece, is that communities that you share using these automated market reports also will generate branded community pages that feature your information. So instead of just being a generic page about Dallas or about Charleston or whatever have you, these are branded to you that will have your information, details about the market report that you generated, and the type of business that is going on there, all in service of positioning you as the local market expert. And that's all powered by Live by Data. Now, speaking of automated content, let's talk a little bit about a monthly newsletter. As part of this marketing pillar of Elevate, you will receive a monthly newsletter. Staying top of mind is mission critical in a relationship-driven business like real estate. So what will happen is there will be an automated monthly newsletter sent to your sphere, professionally designed, and again, sent every single month. That will be branded directly to you, and that'll contain relevant market report data, information on buying, selling, and owning a home in the areas that you serve. Additionally, you may want to sometimes go back and find content that went out in a particular newsletter that was generated. So newsletters will also be added as a blog post on your branded website, so you can always go back in the archive and see what's been sent out. Elevate will also share this newsletter via social media monthly, continually seeking to drive engagement and continually positioning you as the local market expert, that you know more about the areas that you love than anyone, and here I have the resources to back that up. You've heard me mention Meta a couple of times, so I'd like to take a minute and talk about Meta ad lead campaigns. Again, for those of you that may not be in the know, Meta is referring to Facebook and Instagram. Much like Alphabet is the parent company of Google, Meta is the parent company of Facebook and Instagram and Threads and so on. So the experts on the Elevate team will help generate lead ads on Meta platforms in up to 5 areas of your choosing, and you'll work with them early in the process to find what those areas are. People visiting these ads will be able to download the latest listings and latest information about that area from you, and they'll be required to provide contact information. This is another key piece where we talk about the consent that's captured early as part of this process. Any leads that are captured here, and for that matter, in any of the other lead generating items that we've mentioned so far and will mention, are imported into your intelliAgents contact list, at which point you will be notified of new contacts. When leads are captured, an automated thank you response is going to go out to ensure quick communication. And then of course, that also generates the ability for this contact to continue to view the latest available listing. So making sure that generating relevant content, reaching the right people, capturing their information with consent, and then ensuring quick communication, that whole process is taken care of for you as part of the Elevate program. Now, of course, this is in order to generate listings that are available currently. I'll have more on Meta and listings in just a minute. But I've talked a little bit about being a local market expert, about serving the communities that you love and making sure you're helping the right people. Well, one of the other ways that the Elevate program is going to help you with that in that marketing pillar is with neighborhood farming. So for this particular section, the Elevate team is working with a partner organization to generate postcards for neighborhoods of your choosing, and you'll select those early on in the process. Your concierge team will work with you to identify neighborhoods with a need for marketing, as well as areas that you love to serve, that you do business in, to help really meet your needs. The team will work with you to brand these postcards and personalize them to your style. It's worth mentioning that there are a great deal of different styles of postcards that you'll be able to select. You'll also receive suggestions based on responsiveness to particular postcards. If postcard B performs a little bit better than postcard C, but postcard A might suit your needs best, they'll make sure you have all of that relevant information so that you can make an informed decision. You'll continually be kept in the loop on how that neighborhood farming is going, and you'll also receive proof of delivery to make sure you know everything is being handled in your stead. Those postcards that get sent out to these farmed neighborhoods can provide automated seller valuation leads. But you might be saying to me, wait a minute, so Drew, these postcards are going out, but that sounds like I'm going to have a lot of work to do to follow up with anybody who expresses any interest. Not the case. And you'll hear me talk about this team a little bit more, but if you're worried about following up, Elevate has a dedicated ISA team to handle follow-up for you. I'll talk more about them in a little bit more detail in a little bit, but we have a team dedicated to handle follow-up for you so that you don't have to worry about that. Basically, for neighborhood farming, this truly can be set it and forget it. My mom was a great cook growing up. She was an incredible cook for me and my siblings, but she was a lover of the crock pot and Instant Pot. I grew up a lover of set it and forget it, and I am to this day. This portion truly can be set it and forget it. You can set this up and be done for the year, or you can continually make adjustments to suit your needs and the needs of your business. Let me move on from here. Let's talk a little bit about the featured agent portion. We talked a lot about Elevate helping to position you as the local market expert for the communities that you serve, and the featured agent portion helps you to get resources to reinforce that fact. Featured agents are able to select neighborhoods that they serve. Now think of this more instead of just the entire city, although you serve the entire city, is I service Oakwood. That is my neighborhood. I love doing business there. Or, expand it out from there. They're able to select those neighborhoods that they serve and appear as a featured agent anytime that area is viewed on fathomrealty.com. Additionally, those neighborhood pages roll up to the corresponding city pages. So if you work a lot in Oakwood, in Cary, you would also roll up into the Cary area as a featured agent. All those leads are routed into your CRM, and those are then routed to the ISA team for follow-up. So not only do you appear when that area is searched for, but you also receive a customizable profile page, and it's that option there on the bottom right. You'll see Allison listed there as an example. That has information about you, your business, the area that you serve, and how to get in touch with you. And that's all fully customizable to really showcase what you need. And the Elevate team will work with you to make sure that relevant information ends up on that page. All of that in service of branding yourself as the expert in that neighborhood. Don't believe what I say, take a look at this page and I'll show you better than I can tell you. Now, this next portion I'm really, really excited about because I got to actually showcase this at Fathom Summit. For those of you, and I see some folks I think I did see who got to attend Fathom Summit, you probably would have seen me talking about this. We had a demo packet to showcase, but now this is rolling out fully. You may have even seen the announcement go out about listing packages being available, but this is really all about how Fathom Elevate can help elevate the listing side of your business. So listing packages are included as part of the Elevate program. You'll receive a premier listing kit for every listing that you have, and that's again included as part of joining Elevate. Again, if you were able to join to attend Fathom Summit, you got to see the prototype of that kit. We've now gotten to see what the full realized version looks, and they are incredible. And they have so much great content in them: property reports, branded door hangers, branded flyers, postcards, listing, all that great stuff is all included in those premier listing kits. And that's crafted for each and every one of your listings while you're a part of Elevate. I'll also add that you can order these independently if you so choose, but as part of Elevate, you won't have to pay for it. You can take a look at the announcement that was released. They are fantastic. That's one that you won't want to miss. I mentioned a little bit about Meta. I've got one more thing I want to talk about Meta ads very briefly, which is, speaking of listings, Meta ad listing campaigns. So in addition to receiving that listing package for every listing that you have, the Elevate team is going to promote those listings that you have on the Meta, again, Facebook, Instagram, etc., platforms in the area near the home, with the goal to be to help you maximize your reach and increase visibility on the home. All of those ads that are added onto Meta link back to your branded website. So everything stays in your ecosystem. They aren't being routed to another site and then they maybe have to click a link and then they get back here. Everything stays self-contained in your ecosystem, so folks are staying in your realm. That listing campaign can also help you market open houses once you get to that portion of the listing process. And these will go out regularly to make sure that you are continually, or rather Elevate is continually marketing the listings that you are working on. Now, this is all fantastic. And there's one last thing as part of the marketing portion I want to touch on, which is often overlooked, and that's towards the end of the life cycle of your transactions that you are working. Because you know as well as I do that when you get to the end of a transaction, your relationship with that client doesn't end. It's not, well, I helped you buy a home, bye. You know as well as I do that that's not at all how it goes. So for this last portion of the marketing pillar that I want to talk about, I want to talk about post-close marketing, because the Elevate team is going to help you and your clients after closing. This is a full life cycle of support. The Elevate team is going to send out automated campaigns to stay top of mind with past clients through email and social media engagement. Again, the goal here is to stay top of mind and help build the referral portion of your business. Any of your past clients will receive ongoing property reports, so they're always in the know about the area that they are owning a home. And again, those campaigns are personalized and they'll have relevant insights to the markets that your clients live in. All of this to help you strengthen connections, build bridges, and provide value to your clients, even long after your transaction has closed. And again, the Elevate team will take care of that so that you can make sure you're just focusing on the relationship building portion of it. All right, I have spent a long time talking about marketing, so obviously it's all great info, but I've got some more stuff I want to talk about. Let's shift gears to that third pillar. That's right, I feel like Billy Mays, but wait, there's more. He does it better than I do, but still. Let's talk a little bit about the workflow portion, because ultimately Elevate is seeking to make your life easier by taking that heavy lifting off of your plate. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that dedicated leads, or the dedicated ISA team. We've discussed several ways in which Elevate can help you generate more leads, but however, we know that lead nurturing doesn't begin and end with just having their contact information. If it did, the whole world would still use Rolodexes, and I haven't seen a Rolodex since 1998. So leads that are captured via the methods that we've discussed previously are sent to the ISA team for easy nurturing, detail capturing, and ultimately the goal, conversion. Any leads that are ready to go, they're ready to start doing business, those will have a warm handoff to you to start the process that you need to do for your business. And anybody that's not quite ready yet, that's still thinking, that's still working on it, they'll be transferred into your database for regular follow-up so that nobody falls through the cracks or goes without information, just that you are provided the most important information that's relevant to you. Not only that, the ISA team will assist you in managing appointments with your leads and ultimately helping you stay organized and in the loop. And we know that organization is a big, big important thing to running a successful business. So Elevate is seeking to handle that portion for you. The next thing I want to talk about is the big one, which is transaction coordination. This is one of the most, if not the most important aspects of closing transactions, and that's of course coordinating them, keeping accurate transaction details over the course of the process. So as part of the activation process for Elevate, you'll be paired with a transaction coordinator who will assist you over the course of the lifespan of transactions that you work. Your transaction coordinator will handle entering new transactions in IntelliAgent. They'll monitor contracts, contacts, and deadlines to help you stay on track. And additionally, they'll also coordinate with mortgage and title to ensure smooth closings. Now, this is super important too, is that you'll be paired extremely early on in the activation process with Elevate, meaning you'll have time to communicate with your transaction coordinator, where you can discuss with them about your business, your needs, how you work best, and they'll be able to communicate with you what the transaction coordinator can handle versus what a licensed agent is required to handle in those situations. And ultimately, over communicate with you. I know I personally am a big believer in over communication, and the transaction coordinators are absolutely the same way to make sure that you have all the relevant information that you need in order to be successful. Now, a couple other things to mention for the workflow portion. I want to talk a little bit about reviews. Again, this is often overlooked. Elevate will assist you in creating a personalized, dedicated master review site for all of your client testimonials. That website will combine reviews from outside sources, other reviews that you may have, and will collate them into one easy to use SEO optimized platform. Not only that, but the Elevate team will also work on contact clients to get reviews in, meaning, once you go to closing and things are wrapping up, it's all going smoothly, the Elevate team will reach out to try to get a review done in a timely manner, making sure that that follow-up portion is handled and that this page is staying up to date. Now, as you can see, beginning to end, Elevate is here to help you along the life cycle of those client relationships. From the lead capture portion, from the nurturing to the follow-up, to managing your transactions, to staying in touch after close, Elevate is taking that hard work off your plate. And again, I feel like Billy Mays, I'll quote him again, but wait, there's more. Because speaking about towards the end of the life cycle of a transaction that you're working on, Elevate will also be offering Connect services. Now, this will be optional and it will depend on the situation that you're in. Elevate will offer assistance to your clients to connect the various services that are necessary when moving into a home, whether that be water, power, internet, electricity, gas, whatever it may be. Connect services will be available after close to ensure that you leave an impact on the ease of your clients closing on their home. Now, it's worth mentioning, not every Elevate member will want to use this for every single client. Maybe folks, your client don't need that assistance for this situation. That's perfectly okay. It's entirely up to you, and it's something that you can offer as an added benefit, but we're not going to force anybody to use those Connect services if they don't want to. I know I won't name the company because I could get in trouble. I know if I didn't have to deal with the internet company I had to use, I would have been thrilled, but I know everybody's different and needs different things. So it's an option there as an added benefit. And ultimately, staying in the know is extremely important. Staying up to date is of top priority. And we've talked about a lot of stuff, so it could seem like it's a lot to have to keep track of in an inbox or something. So with IntelliAgent, and ultimately this is an IntelliAgent program, they're going to make it easy for you to stay in the know with real-time updates. And that's on all aspects of Elevate, from when leads are captured, when postcards are sent, when documents are uploaded, when follow-up occurs. This is something that you'll regularly check as part of Elevate to see what's happening behind the scenes to help grow your business. And you can even see on the mock-up there, you can see ad performances and your reach. All of this to give you a 360 view of how your business is being elevated in real time. Now, I still got two more pillars that I want to get through. Let's shift gears and let's talk a little bit about productivity. And the big thing here is talking about coaching, because in order to run a successful business, you need a lot of different things. Yes, you want a good reach. Yes, you need a good brand, but you also need to be in the right mindset and you need to be in the right productivity space. So you'll be working with experienced coaches. And again, these aren't just motivational speakers who gave a TED Talk one time and now they're an expert. And I mean no disrespect there, but these are going to be coaches who have been where you are, successful real estate agents who have had success in the business with proven growth strategies. They'll work with you through regular group coaching sessions with, again, those successful members on things like productivity, the practical needs of running a business, accountability, goal setting, growth strategies, efficiency, and so much more from people who have been there, done that. and they'll continue to add more coaching opportunities as the program grows. One of my favorite things here is actually at the bottom of this slide is mindset and motivation. Mindset to running a successful business is key, and Elevate coaches are going to be there to help you get in the right headspace to run a successful business. And they'll continue to add more coaching opportunities as the program continues to grow. One last pillar to talk to before we get into kind of the nitty-gritty of the program, which is recruiting. Growing your network is a key part of running a successful business. And I said it earlier, real estate is a relationship-driven business. So if you're someone who wants to build your network, the concierge team will assist you in building a recruiting plan and pair you with a recruiter for recruiting support. You'll build a recruiting plan with their help, build strategies, and they can work to help bring qualified agents into your network. Now, as you know, agents that are brought into your network via your recruiting efforts are eligible to join your Fathom Revenue Share network, and that increases your opportunity to earn revenue share. So by building a base, you can increase revenue share opportunities there, along with increasing your reach to outside clients and helping you along the way. So there's so much that goes into the Elevate program, ultimately trying to save you time and energy. And you'll hear me talk about that a little bit. But let's get into the nuts and bolts of the program here. So Elevate does have a cost associated with it. And there's two key components that go into the cost for the program. The first is a $50 monthly fee that is charged as being part of the Elevate program. And additionally, for this program, there is a 20% commission split. Now, couple of things to break this down a little bit. The Elevate program is not a plan, meaning that this is not replacing Fathom Max or Fathom Share or your legacy Fathom One plans. Those applicable fees will still apply to your transactions. It's also worth mentioning that the monthly fee is extremely low. In other similar programs, I know I've seen one example, it's $200 a month, and you pay that all up front for the next 2 years that you're stuck into the program. The reason why, and the reason why there's that 20% commission split, is because there's so much initial capital investment being done for pairing you with transaction coordinators, for all of the marketing materials that we discussed, for the coaching, etc. There's a great deal of initial investment that's being done. So that's where the 20% commission split comes in. That 20% commission split is assessed on all residential buyer or seller transactions that close while you are a part of the Elevate program. And that split is calculated on the gross commission income, or the GCI, for those of you that prefer the acronym there. I'll say that one more time. That's all residential buyer or seller transactions. Please note, I did not mention commercial. That is not part of the program. I did not mention leases. That is not a part of this program, nor are your referral transactions part of this program. That is all residential buyer or seller transactions while you are a part of the Elevate program. And when joining or when activating in the Elevate program, you'll sign a 1-year term when joining the Elevate program. So it'll start from a year that you sign your agreement and extend 1 calendar year until the next year afterwards. Now, we've talked a little bit about the individual things, but let's zoom out a little bit. What is this program going to do for you as a Fathom agent? Ultimately, this program is designed to make your life easier by taking a lot of that hard work off your plate. Something I say all the time in my personal life, there are 2 resources that you cannot buy, sell, or steal. Can't. And that is time and energy. You can't buy it, sell it, or steal it, your time and your energy. And too often, agents are asked to spend that valuable time and energy on things outside of growing their business or nurturing their clients, spending time on websites they don't understand or trying to build things that they aren't super confident in. Elevate aims to help you work smarter, not harder, and let you focus on you, ultimately aiming to attract more clients. Working smarter, not harder, by making that minutia much easier, leveling up your skills so that it's easier the next time you have to do it, grow income and influence, and ultimately handling that initial capital investment. Fathom will handle the investment portion up front by providing all of these resources so that you can grow from there. Now, ultimately, you're empowered to use those resources and support your business in this market that we find ourselves in. Now, Couple of additional details as we get towards the end of our time together here today, because there are some qualifications to be able to join the Elevate program. First, you must have closed at least 4 residential buyer and or seller transactions in the last 12 months. That is 4 residential buyer and or seller transactions in the last 12 months. Some people have asked, do I have to have done that with Fathom? Not necessarily. Now, this program currently is only available to existing Fathom agents and as folks continue to come on board, but they must be a Fathom agent. But if you joined us within the last, 2 months and you did 4 with a previous brokerage and did 1 here, that still counts. Ultimately, it has to be 4 closed. It has to be fully closed residential buyer and or seller transactions in the last 12 months. There is a 1-year agreement that you'll sign as part of the activation process, and that'll extend from 1 year out until when you've signed that agreement. That 20% commission split is on all residential buyer or seller transactions while you are a part of the program. Again, I will reiterate that at this time, this does not apply to your commercial transactions, lease transactions, or your referral transactions. I'll also mention that all relevant fees and splits from your Fathom Max, Fathom Share, Legacy Fathom One plan will still apply. That still applies for your transactions. This is laying on top of your plan. I'll also very briefly mention, at the current moment, Elevate is accepting 100 people initially. However, they are currently building a wait list to add more people as the program grows. So if you're interested, but you aren't sure this week, you can always sign up next week. This isn't a get in right now or it's gone forever, not like that. The goal is for this to be a continual program to continue to help people elevate their business to the next level. Now, ultimately, as we get towards the end of our time together here today, there's a question I'm sure you're asking. Is Elevate right for everyone? Of course not. And Elevate expects that. Some of you may already be doing some of these things on your own. You've already been handling it by yourself. Or maybe you're paying for other services that you love that do some of this for you already. You have already built that relationship. Maybe you're on a team, which Elevate at the current moment is not set up for teams, but I'll say stay tuned, more on that later. You may have several transactions that are in the pipeline that you've handled for yourself that you don't want to have to pay a split on just yet. No problem. That is okay. It is not going to hurt anybody's feelings. I put it to you like this. Think of this Elevate program like working on your car. I am sure, independent of one another, you could change the wiper blades on your car. Easy peasy. You could replace your car battery. You could change your brakes with maybe a little bit of help. You could change the oil by following a guide on YouTube somewhere, and you could change your tires with some time and your elbow grease. But if you are asked to do them all at once by yourself and that feels overwhelming, you would go see a mechanic, right? Well, the same idea applies here with Elevate. To handle all of these different things we've talked about, Elevate is seeking to take that hard work off your plate so that you can ultimately focus on driving the car, which is your business. Now, some of you may be asking, well, Drew, where do I go from here? I want to know more. I'd like to, do this stuff. How do I go about doing that? Well, the good news is you already did step 1, as a matter of fact, which is to take one of these trainings. We'll continue to offer these. It's going to be the same presentation, but you're more than welcome to join us if you want to go back over this information. If you're ready to get started, you can actually visit the link that I'm just dropping in the chat, or I've got that QR code on the slide that you can scan. On that page, it's housed on Fathom Wiki. You'll find a review of the details that I discussed today, along with an FAQ list that you'll find listed there. I'd encourage you to read through that and see if any of your questions are listed there. Now, towards the bottom of that page, you'll see the form you can fill out to begin the process. There's a few questions that you'll answer about yourself and your business, and those answers will be sent to the Elevate team. Once you fill out that form, keep an eye out on your email for Elevate to contact you when they are ready to move forward or if they have questions for you. Again, we're going to continue to hold these webinars regularly, so don't hesitate to stop in and join us again if you want to go back over this information. Again, we'll be doing this same presentation, so I'd love to have you back. I love seeing your smiling faces. With all that said, I want to thank you for joining us today to learn about the new Elevate program. I really appreciate your time and attention while going over all this information. I know you're busy, you've got jobs, you've got lives, so taking time out of your day to learn a little bit more, I really, really do appreciate it. Ultimately, if you're ready to take your business up a level, you're ready to elevate to the next step, then sign up for the Elevate program, get ready to grow, and sign up today.